Welcome everybody to the N word from Nerd Quickie. Man, we've been putting out all the quickies. We have not done the show yet, but don't worry. Me and the Duke of all Nerds have a lot of stamina. That's for the ladies. Going into it
That's
as
why it's a
always.
quickie, because we have so much
Right,
stamina.
right. You probably already read the title, so we're going to talk about Titans season 3, first 3 episodes. But before we jump into that, let's introduce the other host, the original host, the man that I had when I thought of this show. He inspired me to make this show. We have the Duke of all Nerds, Jason number A, as you know him. What's going on, Jason?
I'm going great. Titans was the reason why I want to do this, so I can talk shit about things I love.
Absolutely. So for those that do not know, well, you're about to know, Titans season 3 debuted on HBO Max, and maybe somewhere else, but I'm not quite sure. But let's go with HBO Max.
I think it's only on
And
HBO Max at this point.
right, because I've been, but yeah, DC Universe merged with HBO Max, so you are correct. So we
Yeah, they
basically
split
come
off their comic book stuff and the live action stuff into two different apps.
right, absolutely. So basically, you got Titan season 3 jumping off, and we decided to come here and have some conversations about it. So let's start with a beginning point, and then we're going to move to season 3. The beginning point we're going to say here is this is no spoilers. We're going to start off with no spoilers. But Jason, what was your attitude about Titans up until season 3?
All right, my attitude about Titans. I was really, really excited for Titans when I heard it was coming out because Teen Titans are my favorite supergroup because it has my favorite superheroes. Glad Jared's not here to fucking make fun of me. I love Robin. Robin normally either in any iteration runs the Titans, and like that's where I got into like comic books was reading Teen Titans as a young college student. So I was really excited about it. And the first season it had its flaws, but it was still like entertaining enough. And then when they came to the second season, they shat the bed. So like I have a love hate with this relation with this show because I love it because it's the Titans and I love the Titans, but and sometimes the show is really gets it good, but most of the time it's just it's like a monkey on a typewriter. They're just cramming their feces into the typewriter and saying it's a story. So that was my impression coming into season 3 is that it was that I was going to be hurt more than I was going to be, uh, pleased.
No, I'm right there with you. When I found out they were making a Titans live action series, I jumped for joy. I was excited. I had all the feels. I'm like, yes, we're getting Titans. And anybody is funny enough, like how you feel about Tim Drake. It's kind of how I feel about Dick Grayson. Not my
Yeah,
number one favorite, but he in DC, he's my number two. I'm a Superman guy first. The
he's
Dick
up there.
Grayson is close. Yeah, he's right on Superman's heels for me. As Nightwing and as the original Robin. And so I was like, yes, we're getting this. And then I saw the photos of Starfire being black, and I'm like,
Oh,
that's a great choice, great
she was
decision.
always
Like,
coded to as black to me. I was like, that's a
right,
black girl, even
right.
though she's orange.
Right. So I was here for it. And so, yes, I'm with you. I, and so I think we differ on is that I enjoy season 2 a bit more than I enjoy season 1. I know season 2 has the most flaws and the leaps in
Yes,
logic are crazy in it. But I did like again the main villain in there because we're trying to be spoiler free here for people who haven't seen it. But I did like the main villain in season 2, where season 1, and which I found out later on, is that I think they thought season 1 wasn't they weren't going to complete the season, and
well
they rushed the end of it.
they did rush. They didn't even complete the season. The season 1 doesn't even end until the beginning of season 2.
Right.
And one of
And I don't know if
the,
that
the
was
worst things about season 1 is like they for the first 3 episodes, rather than telling us a story about the Teen Titans, they're trying to set up two different other shows for um, the DC Unlimited that is now defunct. So the first three
right.
episodes are like trying to set up other shows other than the show that we're trying to watch, which is really disappointing. It makes it really feel slow.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, but I did enjoy season 2 because of the villain there. So for season 3, I will admit, because I was on the fence about watching it. I was going to be like, hey, look, I may not be able to do it. So what actually helped me is that I read that HBO Max did give it a way bigger and better budget. And once I found that out, I said, okay, good, I'm in. And the reason why I said that is because anybody who's watched Superman and Lois, because that is made by the HBO Max people, not by the CW normal people. Superman and Lois is really good. And I was like, okay, good. Maybe season 3 will correct it. So With that being said, we're going to jump into our non-spoiler review of the first 3 episodes of season 3, and then after that, we're going to jump into spoilers because I think the spoiler part is what I'm excited to talk about because we have a lot of things we got to chop up when it comes to
Yeah,
spoiler side of it. But Jason, so non-spoiler, I guess to catch everybody up with season 3, a synopsis really quick. Season 3 picks up a little bit after, I guess, season 2.
I think it's
The
like
Teen
3 or 4 months after season 2 ends.
Right. The Teen Titans are fully into their Teen Titanness, and they're actually almost looks like they're local celebrities, and they're taking interviews, etc. Well, Jason Todd's story, if anybody knows the books, kind of follows a similar vein to Jason Todd's story, and then all of a sudden we get the appearance of a person as Red Hood. And now the Titans have to deal with this person as Red Hood. I don't know how much people know about that, so I'm just going to leave it there. So, Jason, what is your thoughts on the first 3 episodes of Titan season 3?
Well, definitely the money, you can tell they put more money into this show. One of the biggest, I guess, gripes I had about the previous 2 seasons was that for a show about superheroes, especially a superhero who's a martial artist, their fight scenes were garbage. They were completely terrible. They were dimly shot. You couldn't see what was going on. It was so bad. And in this one, especially in the first episode, it's actually passable. It's CW levels of fight scene, but like at least you can see what's going on, and there actually are some really cool moments in it. So at first, I was pretty excited that that budget was going to good use. After seeing all 3 episodes, I'm intrigued to see what's going on for the rest of the season. I really want to watch the rest of the season, but as I said with the last two seasons, it has hurt me so much to get to this point. Like I think it's going to be good, but I know that I'm just going to be let down again. So I'm optimistic that it might be good, but I am definitely guarding myself, knowing that it's going to be more and more letdowns. So,
Absolutely. No. So, here's my thing. I want to first want to say I like the first 3 episodes, and I'm gonna tell you what made me start liking it because Jason was the Duke was texting while he was watching it. And we watched it at different times, and then I later on started watching it. And I was texting and like I was trashing it, and it seems like the Duke started trashing it and started at the end upticking to be some positivity.
yeah, I
I
was
was
going
trashing it a
better.
lot, right? I was trashing it a lot, and then it was at one point in the which we'll talk about as spoilers, where a scene with a huge character in the DC comic universe makes a comment to Dick Grayson, and then from that point I go, you know what? Everything I know about these characters and the history of these storylines, I have to let go of. And I have to just say that they're trying to at least hopefully keep the essence of the characters, but the world around them is going to be completely different than everything else. I will show you a bad example of this is to a degree is Gotham.
Yeah,
Gotham sometimes forgot the essence of these characters, but the world around it was different. But because you knew who these characters were eventually going to be, you kept trucking through there to kind of stay involved. This one here, I think, is completely, utterly okay. We have a little bit of the essence of them. After the essence of them, we good here. We not doing no more work with it. Whatever you knew about this character ain't gonna be what's gonna be true about him anymore. However you feel about this character and what you loved about him the most, maybe the
that's
attitude stays, but the ability, the storylines that built that attitude are not going to be anywhere close to this show.
and like
So
for me, like a lot of the casting wise in the show, like who they got to play these characters, I think is good for the most part. A
mhm,
lot of the actors are really, really good in the roles that they're playing. It's just that as you said, like they don't know what the characters they're dealing with, and they're just like only giving us like the Pepsi Diet Light version of it.
absolutely. So once I got in my mind that it was like, okay, this is going to be a little bit off, I need to take it as what it is. And my mindset was, don't think about, well, that character wouldn't do that. Think, would that character do that in this universe? And once you start, and I know this is a hard stretch for a lot of people, but once you start thinking about it that way, being real, all of it starts making more sense. Now you go, oh, okay, because this character shown this consistently for 2 seasons. Yes, they should do this instead of me thinking that, like, say, a Nightwing is going to become the Nightwing that I know and expect, the great leader,
We
the
know and
blah
love
blah. Nah, he for 2 seasons has
the
been a terrible
hopeful
leader.
guy who likes to do quips. who's
Right.
basically the Batman equivalent of Spider-Man,
Right. He's
who
not going to be that
who's
guy.
joking and jovial and likable.
Yes,
You
he's going to be
have
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man,
yeah,
not
Spider-Man
Tom
3
Holland.
Spider-Man.
Right. So once I got that, I realized. But so I did enjoy it. I do like some of the creative choices, which we're going to get into in the spoiler part. I do love the creative choices they made in this. Like, if you're
Me
going to
too.
make this not tied to the things that we're used to, then you need to be creative as hell and go all out. I just hope they don't waste the creativity that they're putting into these different looks of characters, which I think
Oh,
one
they are.
character we're going to talk about, I feel like they're wasting already. Yeah, they're already wasting them already. But I'm holding out hope, fingers crossed here. So um, I'm gonna keep watching. I would tell people if you've already invested 2 seasons, keep watching. If you think this is going to be the entry level for you, probably don't worry about it and wait till if once everything is done, maybe watch the whole thing because it maybe only will last like 4 or 5 seasons at the end of the day. So watch the whole thing. But if you already invested like we are, I think I would say thumbs up, keep going forward.
In fact, if you aren't invested, if you haven't watched any of it, I suggest go ahead and watch it so I have someone else to talk to about this bullshit. Misery Loves Company. Go ahead and watch it. It's great. You're going to love it.
Oh man, so you know where Jason's coming from. All right, guys, everybody, we're at 11, 15, 16. If I edit this, it may actually be a lot shorter than that. But the point is, we're getting to the spoiler portion of the show. The spoiler portion of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not want
Spoilers.
spoilers on season 3, episodes 1 through 3, you need to pause it, turn it off, go somewhere, watch it, then come back, whatever you want to do. But please come back though. We got to
Yeah.
always remember, come back and finish listening to the review. And if you haven't, before you cut us off, make sure you like and subscribe. Maybe comment to say, hey, just listen to the non-spoiler portion. I'm about to go look at it, comment, do something for us, and then you can come tune back in. So if Jason, if you want to give us the 5-second countdown before we jump into spoilers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fuck you if you haven't learned. If you don't learn.
And we're on. All right, we're going great into spoilers. So let's start on off with Jason. What do you, from we talk about if you liked it or did not like it? What I'm gonna make this very poignant. What is your favorite creative decision they've made with season 3
Oh,
over the other season so far?
Tim Drake is black and Asian. That
Yes,
is my
sir.
favorite creative decision. Like, I'm a Tim Drake fan. Like, as I've said before, I love, love, love Tim Drake. Black and Asian. Fuck yeah. Okay. I'm all for it. Hey, and they can even throw in the fact that he's bisexual too. I'm all for it. Go ahead. That's the number one thing that I screamed out loud. I was like, "That's Tim Drake. That's Tim Drake."
I'm right there with you. It's not my most creative one. I have a different one. I think it's more creative. But I would say when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is dope." And look, and I know I'm gonna jump into this. This is the N word for Nerd Show. This
Yeah,
show was
we're black
incarnated
folk.
initially for blackness. You know, token Jaren is a token because we need to do affirmative action. So, but I'm gonna be completely
He's a
honest.
diversity hire.
Yeah, if you're gonna give me an athletic, super intelligent, where the greatest detective in the world himself said that only because of his age, if it were not because of his age, he would be the greatest detective on the earth. So Batman himself said that Tim Drake would be smarter than him eventually. You get athletic age, the ability to fight, problem solve. I'm sorry. What better combination than black and Asian can you get to do all those things and be successful in it? I'm just gonna call it. I'm just gonna call it.
And
It is
it
what it
also
is.
doesn't make sense to me that Gotham is a very like Oakland s city, a very Detroit s city, and all he can find are white orphans. Like, get the fuck out of here! Like, they would all be they would all be people of color. Let's just get that out of the way. Like,
Absolutely.
if your city is that shitty, like, there's a ton of orphans you could choose from, and they're all going to be black. Maybe you might find that one Eminem from 8 Mile.
Right, right. But the opening scene with him, how they set up, they already put into it. Hey, this character's intelligent. This
Yeah,
character is street smart. This character gets it. Like,
yeah, he knows what he's doing. Like, even though it was just only one scene, they nailed it like almost on the head. And which is
yeah,
one of the things I like about the show is like when they get it right, they get it right. So when they get it wrong,
absolutely.
they get it so fucking wrong.
Oh, who you telling? Who you telling? But they nailed that. My creative choice, I think, the most creative choice I think they did on this one is you found the way, and you mentioned it, and once you mentioned it, it kind of twisted it. You found a way to tell a Batman story because the Red Hood is a
It's
Batman
a Batman
story,
story.
but I feel like the way they're trending it, they're converting it to a Titan story, and I think it works in the removal of Batman. him like, hey, be a better Batman than me and
I'm
leaving
out.
the throne. Yeah, I think it works because you know what? We and you talked about it. I hate Damian Wayne, and we can talk about that for another show. But I would love to see a Dick Grayson Batman with a Tim Drake Robin, and then run like especially the Tim Drake they're setting up here. I would effing love that.
That would
Like,
be a great combination.
just do a spinoff series with that.
Yeah.
Like, so the fact that we talked about characterizations, Batman would never just quit up and leave Gotham. And I know
No,
Garth doesn't think he
never.
really left, but the point that they put that in there made me think that was the scene I talked about where I said, oh, this isn't what we're used to from this universe of people. They still kept Batman's commitment to fighting crime. They still kept Batman's ability to say that he'll do this at any cost except for death and shooting. But here's the twist on Titans is that Batman is almost kind of sociopathic here because
Yeah, he's terrible.
all the
He's the Dark
yeah, go
Knight
ahead.
Batman, I guess. I guess they're
Yes,
like oh, Frank Miller knows what he's talking about. No, Frank Miller does not know the fuck he's talking about. And
absolutely.
this Batman, oh well, they never showed it on camera, so therefore, in my mind, it didn't really happen. But this Batman has supposedly killed the Joker after the Joker had killed Tim Drake. I mean, not Tim Drake,
Right.
but Jason Todd. And I'm like, that would never fly. Like, in fact,
No.
this Batman has gone through in this universe, have gone through several, deaths. Like Alfred has died, Gordon has died.
Yep.
Barbara Gordon lost a leg because the actress that they have for playing is an amputee. I guess I didn't look into her full entire backstory, but she only has one leg. So a lot of shit has already happened, and this is the one that pushes him over. Like your
Right.
asshole
Right.
sidekick is the one that drives you insane.
Right. And I looked at that, and so again, I looked at a lot of those situations that this isn't the Batman we're used to, and also besides that, like outside all the Robins that Batman has ever taken on, it's always been a happenstance taking on a Robin. It's never been a
Yeah,
recruitment plot, and we'll get to the recruitment thing a little later. We'll dive into that, but once all that came played out, I said, "Oh, this isn't the Batman. This isn't the Bruce Wayne that we're talking about that we know. This is some alternate reality version because I guess, this series is going to be more built for Dick to be the guy, and you
yeah.
can't be the guy if you have that bat flying over your head that everybody, including all of us, will be like, well, maybe not me and you specifically, but for the average viewer, it's going to be like, well, why don't you just call Batman to help him? Or why don't you just tell Batman or use Batman's money? Like, everybody will have that argument. It's like why don't you just get the Eagles to fly the ring to the volcano thing?
They
Like,
can't because
right,
they've been
exactly.
spotted and shot down. Come on,
we,
guys.
we understand this because we get it, but the viewing public will say things like that and go, "Why don't you just get Batman? He is the greatest detective. Why don't he just?" And it's like, no, but this is the way they can move him out the way and make the spotlight for Dick. So that was my thought. It was the best creative decision because now we can get rid of all this. We spent 2 seasons with Dick with Batman trauma. Now we finally can remove all of that, and now I hate to say it, now Dick can invoke trauma on these other kids because
Yeah.
that's what it seems to
Well,
be
apparently he
happening
already
now.
has. In the last season, he was already invoking trauma on these kids. They all
Right.
freaking gave up on him because he lied about. I don't even remember because they all were inculpable in Jericho's death. They all were like, "Yeah, let's use Jericho," and then he got him killed. And he was like, "Oh, you said that Slade killed him." It's like, well, technically Slade did kill him. I was
Right.
just there. He
Right.
was like, and they were mad at him for that. Like, y'all all used that kid. Like every last one of y'all used that kid.
Once
Like,
again, very bad plots in
oh
season 2.
Jesus.
Just again, I just enjoyed the villain. All right, so that's a creative choice. Let's go to yes, Barbara Gordon. We brought her up, amputee in here. Your thoughts on Barbara Gordon? Just fully fleshed. Let it all out.
She is probably the weakest character next to the chick that they've gotten to play Rachel Raven. She is supposed to be the Gotham City, police commissioner now after her father has died because he was killed by Mister Freeze. And she is she's the worst. She's
Yes.
sitting there
Yes.
having people who aren't police officers be insubordinate to her in front of her, all of her police officers. She's sitting there letting the Teen Titans just do whatever they want. And she's like, oh, I can't go out on a limb for you, but I guess she can do it. And she's just she's not the Barbara Gordon that we know and love in the comic books, who is, a capable, even when she is not physically capable, she is mentally capable as well to take on bad guys and take on the role of protecting Gotham. And this person that they have with the name of Barbara Gordon is not the person that they need. Though it is an inspired choice to have someone with a physical difference to play Barbara Gordon because that is pretty cool. But Mm. They wrote
Yeah.
her. They did her dirty.
Look, I'm right there with you because, and I think I even texted like they're only using Barbara Gordon as a jump off to have like Dick do whatever the hell he wants to do, and they
Yeah,
give a reasoning. Like one that what bothers me is that if you're going to put her in the wheelchair and you're going to have her be an amputee, forget all the amputees. Now, let's just say you're going to put her in the wheelchair. Every single comic book fan is going to initially think what?
Oracle.
Oracle. Exactly. Oracle was probably the most proficient, intelligent person in the DC universe, especially behind a computer with her ability. Like, so once you give us that image, that's the first thing we jump to, and you make her almost immediately the dumbest character in the whole show.
In the whole show.
Yeah, and that takes a lot. If you watch season 1 and 2, that takes a lot to make her the dumbest character. So that bothered me. The second thing that bothered me is how in the hell, if you're going to do her as the amputee, which I think again is a very inspired and courageous choice, if you're going to do this, like you have to almost make her much more. Like you have to make
Yeah.
her so capable that you can say, "Oh, this is like you said. This is why all these people will follow this woman in a wheelchair." Because for me, the only reason I think people are following her is because they either respect her dad or like they're like, "Well, she in a wheelchair. We feel bad.
Yeah.
We gave her
We
this little
pity.
gold star to make her think she was commissioner." But like, because it's no nobody can watch this show and go, "She's the leader of men." Really? Like these
Especially
guys in
like
arms?
there's this one scene where Starfire goes in the GP into the police station to ask, something for a request of Barbara Gordon, and she literally says in like front of the whole entire room, "I'm not asking. This is not a. This is not. I'm not asking. I'm telling you to do this for me." And
Right.
it's like you're going to tell the fucking police commissioner of a major American city and to that she has no choice but to do this for you, even though you're just a celebrity superhero, like in front of all her people, like,
Right.
and she's just gonna be like, okay, and we'll like, no, like you can't do that.
Nah, it don't go down like that. Right, right. No, they definitely. I hate to say the word when I say they handicapped her, but they literally handicapped the character, and it makes it suck because we all know for other people who are Barbara Gordon fans or Batgirl fans, we know how integral she is to the Bat family,
Yeah,
and you basically made her a non-factor at all. I
she
did
becomes even
enjoy
more important after she loses her ability to walk than she ever was as
absolutely,
Batgirl as Oracle. She becomes like a
absolutely.
linchpin, and it's like you have none of that on the screen. You have none of that like importance, that intelligence on the screen, and it's just like, oh god, you messed up so bad. And a show
So
that
frustrating.
when they fuck up, they just drop the ball and it just falls 1,000 feet.
Where was I the only one? And I know this is going to be a real deep cut here for people who enjoy this stuff. Was I the only one when they were doing the? I call it the fireside chat, where it's Dick, Barbara, and Bruce, and they're talking, and they get into how her father died and all that. Was I the only one begging for a Birds of Prey esque flashback scene to see Mister Freeze take out Jim? Like, was it just me that was like, I actually want to see this more than this? Like,
And I'm like,
like some
that's
more
kind of
Chris River,
a bullshit way for Commissioner Gordon to go out though. Like he had a
a
heart
heart
attack because
attack.
Mr. Freeze froze him. Like like he could have got shot in the line of duty, protecting children or something. Not a heart attack because Mr. Freeze, a man in a refrigerator suit, as she said, froze him to death.
Yeah, he's like, well, Mr. Freeze. I know his name. Like, what are we talking about? Like, all right, all right. But again, I feel like the
Like,
the back
how's she
history of
mad
all
at
these
Batman for
characters.
that? Like he would have been a target no matter what.
Who knows? Again, we talked about the ineptitude of Barbara Gordon in this one. Going further into it, we talked about it. Batman recruiting other Robins, and I know that was a Easter egg for people because people more dominantly people saw the Carrie Kelly thing, which is a
And
lot
Duke
of people's
Thomas.
favorite. Yeah. Well, I was going to get there, but most people don't know Duke Town. Like, let's be completely honest. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
most
and
people
even
don't know.
Stephanie Brown is even a deep cut, when she was near the end of it too. Yeah, what do you think about that? The Easter eggs they put in there, but also too, like, do you think we're going to get? Was it? Well, I think in the books they called it Robin Group or Robin
We
Inc. or
are
something like
Robin.
that.
It
Yeah,
was We
yeah,
Are
that's what it was. We
Robin
are
with
Robin.
a
Yep.
that would be cool if they did a spin-off of that. That would be pretty awesome. I would hope a whole nother team of writers and directors and producers would do it.
Yes,
Someone
please,
who actually
please.
cares about the source material. I thought it was cool that they made that Easter egg because normally in any sort of live action production of any sort of Batman story, they kind of just fuck over Robin to begin with, and let
Mm-hmm.
alone like any of like their ancillary characters. So I thought that part of him seeing it was pretty cool. the fact that Bruce Wayne was trying to pick another Robin out was kind of stupid because
Right.
it's not like he recruits Robins. It's the fact that he finds troubled youth who have like a path. They're either going to go really bad, or if he can intervene and like change them, then he can like steer them in a better direction. And it's only because of their bullheadedness of wanting to be Robin is the reason why they are Robin. And it's not like he's going looking out. Well, that kid can do a cool black backflip, so I guess he can be Robin. Like, no, like that's not what Batman does. Like,
Right.
unless you're Frank Miller, then
Yeah.
fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, like I said, in that moment with him giving up the Batman thing, in that moment made me realize this isn't the Bruce Wayne we're used to. Because you're just right. Every single Robin, and we can go through it. Dick Grayson lost his parents. Bruce Wayne took him in because he was an orphan. Dick found out he was Batman, and like you said, he persistently hounded him to want to be his sidekick. And then we go to Jason Todd, was stealing tires off the Batmobile, and he had a bad, fuck. I think
Home
his
life.
parents ended up dying. Yeah,
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 his parents are drug dealers and murderers and things. And I mean, that's the reason why Jason Todd was even killed. It's not because he ran off to go confront the Joker. His mother lured him into the bad situation. He
yeah,
didn't defy Batman. He was going after his mother. And then, so we can get into the whole Red Hood thing in just a second. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the fact that they characterize Batman as someone who actively recruits children. I mean, like the whole thing that at least for me was, these children weren't actively recruited by Batman. They were just guided to him, and that's what they wanted to do. So it was their choice
Absolutely.
to be a part of this, rather than him like forcing kids to fight as child
Yeah.
soldiers.
Like, and he
But
had 4 candidates. What he was going to do? Grab all 4, put them in the dungeon, and be like, "Hey, whoever walks out alive, you become the
yeah,
next Robin." Like, what?
whoever lives gets to be Robin.
Right.
But
But
also in
here's the
that
thing.
scene,
Mhm.
the worst part about it for that scene was like Bruce Wayne begged Dick to be Robin again. I'm like, that killed it for
No.
me. Like, I liked Ian Glenn as Bruce Wayne up until
Mhm.
that point where he's like, "You can be Robin again." I'm like, get the fuck out of here. That he would never do that.
Right.
Like,
Well, here's the crazy part. They hit on something that me and you both probably appreciate. They executed it so poorly. The thing that I think I appreciated is that we know in the comics and kind of throughout history, Batman understands he needs a Robin because that's his balancing thing.
yeah,
Batman will never ever tell any Robin that he
that he
needs a
needs.
Robin as his balancing, but he understands he needs a Robin. So I thought that was cool that he understood he needed a Robin. I thought, like you said, it was terrible because Bruce's pride is so heavy. He would never admit to anybody that he needs anybody, let alone a Robin who's probably a kid. Like,
Yeah,
that's insane.
and I mean, like that part was just so disappointing. But the whole setup for this whole thing, going to the Red Hood, the Under the Red Hood story, is
Mhm.
is very disappointing to me because for me, like the Red Hood is not. They pretty much go from Jason Todd being alive and Robin to him being Red Hood in like an episode.
Right, right.
And in real life, that took 15 years before they brought Jason Todd back. There's time for Batman to brood over Jason Todd being dead. There's time for, him to not want another Robin, even though, Tim Drake was like, you need a Robin because you're becoming, unstable, and
Hmm.
like, and then when they finally brought him back and they finally realized like that, Jason Todd wasn't mad at him for getting killed. He was mad at him not killing the Joker, not, taking the psychopath off the street. That it was a moment of catharsis for Batman. It's like, this is the mission. This is what we were training for. And it took time to build that up. And this one, very first scene, and by the end of the episode, Jason Todd is a Red Hood.
Yeah, yeah. They like all things in this show, it lacked a little bit of the character development and the storylines that lead to it, which is kind of crazy because this usually gets a 10, 13 episode run. That's enough time. Where are there enough time to develop and pace this thing out? I mean, you could have even had a paint by monster, big bad crime of the day situation going on for a couple of weeks, like up until episode 5, and then
Yeah.
slowly realize that these people are committing these crimes under a guise of someone else. Like, you could have had an easy way to, let's be real, dump out all the fucking Batman Arkham villains you can find, that are the B and C list characters, Calendar Man and Clock, all these Clock King, and you could have dumped them all out in this run where the Titans are building up this team chemistry and camaraderie by busting these crimes and realizing that maybe by the third person or episode 3, they go, hey, look, every time we leave these crimes, like this piece is left or this clue is left, and they're starting to realize that, oh, someone's running these people to do this. And then we could have eventually fleshed out by episode 5 that is Red Hood. Then by episode 10, it's Jason Todd. And then for the
Yeah.
last 2 episodes, you have that showdown of the last 3, the showdown of the ideologies of why Jason's changed and why he feels the way he feels, and where Bruce and where, because I know we're going more of a Dick, Grayson centric feel on it, how the Titans help make this and develop this change, and why he's not really almost against them, but almost as if just stay out of my way because this is how I'm going to handle business now kind of attitude. But nope, instead we got 3 episodes and pretty much gave it all to us. So let's jump into, I guess, the big is reveal or happening in all these 3 episodes. Is he done? Is he dead?
They killed Hawk.
Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure. If you think officially we're saying he's dead, you think
no? There's no way he's not alive. They blew his ass up. He is dead. They killed him. He is gone. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, because Superboy he got an explosion. He didn't help him out or nothing. He was obliterated, which is also not something that even Red Hood Jason Todd would do.
Right. He wouldn't go after the hero here.
Yeah. He would fight them. He would fuck them up, but he wouldn't blow them up and set them. The show is kind of making it seem, and like Hawk was one of my favorite ones, even though he was wishy-washy in character motivations. He was still a fun character to watch. But like, I don't know. I think I'm hoping there's something else going on here where he's either brainwashed or whatever, because his total. There was not enough time for him to form another ideology from being Robin to Red Hood. He was literally like dead one day and Red Hood the next day, and now he's killing people and killing his friends. And Hawk was even kind of like nice to him in the last season.
Yeah,
because they were kind of like the same character. They're both hothead, brash. I'm gonna fuck these people up kind of dudes. And and Hawk went out of his way to be like, yo, let's just squash this. And I'm coming to talk to me. And he plants a bomb in his chest and blows his ass up and gets fucking Don to do it. Like,
yeah, that was cold blooded. That was hardcore right there. And I'm with you. Like what bothers me with it is, yes, the one that Jason Todd is like. Now, if Jason Todd were to attempt to kill a hero, it will probably be in the way of them getting in the way of him trying to kill a villain.
Yeah.
Not him just killing them to kill them, but the other part of it is, they're kind of setting it up to be like, well, Jason wasn't this smart, so he got to be getting the levers pulled by somebody else. And if the reveal is that it is Scarecrow, that is going to be like, it's going to almost make me quit the show. I'm just going to call it what it is.
Yeah, because it's almost as if that's going to be the thing, is that he's been fear toxin, or even like, I think even like maybe even Bruce Wayne and both Jason were both fear toxin by the Scarecrow, and he's controlling it. Because even the Bruce Wayne characterization is off. Jason Todd's characterization is off. Like, even from what they gave us in previous seasons, and it's just like, it doesn't feel right that they've been doing this sort of like thing in such a quick manner that it has to be another reason behind it. And if there isn't, I'd be so mad.
Or just like, I know they're trying to do this Silence of the Lambs thing with Dick and with Dr. Crane, and I'm just like that. Like, one, it already kind of blew my mind when it's like, oh yeah, Bruce used to go to him all the time for advice. What? The world's greatest detective is like having to figure out criminal profiles from. What are we talking about?
From
like
Scarecrow of all people, like, you could have gone to Harley Quinn for like had a better time,
right? Or even what's the name? Hugo Strange. Like,
yeah.
But okay, all right, we'll go.
He's gonna go to a villain. Go to a villain that actually has like.
Yeah,
a PhD in psychology.
Once again, I get it. This is not our Batman. I guess if that's the hashtag, this is not our Batman. This is definitely it right here. But yeah, so you do that, but it just, I thought that was dope with the whole making Dawn pull the trigger. I wish it just was a better villain that made her do that.
Yes,
the guy that they're trying to save. Also, too, uncharacteristic for Dove to be the one that's like, I'm going to pull the trigger and shoot this kid. And why would Dick just say, hey, Superboy is right now about to have a cure. Like where is that communication? Like, and then I guess she probably didn't have her comments in because she was doing something real shady. But it's like all things. How can we just get and say like, hey, look, don't do this? Like, like I don't get it. I didn't get the scene. I didn't get what they were trying to do. The only thing I got out of it is that you probably dude had something else he had to do on his contract, had a movie or some other show to film, and they needed to get him the hell up out of there. That's what I got.
He had Blue Mountain State season 3 to shoot or something. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it
Like I
just
said,
for me, it just seems like firstly, Dawn is irredeemable because she wanted to murder Jason, like,
yep,
and by doing so, she murdered Hank. And then
yep,
Jason is irredeemable because he literally like set it up to have a friend murder her lover.
yep.
Like, so like, there's no coming back from that. And I'm like, and maybe if there's some sort of mind control going on, then I guess without like that would be the cheapest way out. But the only way out I could see where they're like, okay, Jason, you can be the Red Hood and be a good guy now again. But after that, like, no, like put that dude in prison and throw away the key.
Right. I mean, and because they haven't introduced, the only I could think of is that they go, oh well, he got out of Lazarus pit and he's came back insane, but you have to explain how that all happened like in 3 days. How
Yeah.
did he fly to the Lazarus pit, get in the pool, get out, and then get all the way back across the country and then start doing this Red Hood
They
stuff?
even
Like
make
that's
they even make reference to that in the show that it was like he couldn't have gone to a Lazarus pit and this quickly.
right. But I feel like they're like, oh, it was one in Gotham City. We didn't know about it. I don't know.
I mean, there is actually one in Gotham City, but that's a whole another.
Yeah. Right. Um,
That's
other
how
than
the
that, like, I
Joker came
think,
back after he cut off his face. It's a whole thing.
yeah, we, because of comic books, as I like to
Yeah,
say,
it's comic books.
when things get real weird, like because of comic books. And I think the last thing I think we hit this, and then I think the last thing I had on my list to hit on was, do you think? And I think this is a low blow because I already know how you feel about this, but I'm going to let the audience here too. Do you think this show just completely should just cut out the whole Donna Troy and Raven storyline altogether and just keep moving forward?
Well, so I'm thinking they're gonna they should cut all that shit all together because she's the worst character. She's just so bad at acting that just like this is you talk about this not being Batman or this not being Jason Todd. This young woman is not Raven at all in any sense of the word of the like not even the same power set. It's just so bad. But I guess they're trying to set up the fact that since Jason was brought back, like even though like his body was hidden or whatever, that they could use whatever technique was to bring him back that brought him back to bring back Donna. And no, just don't do that. No, I don't care about that. She can just stay dead, but she's in all the posters, so I guess she's not because I guess they already spoiled it. They're gonna bring her back.
Yeah.
So
I'm not as hard on the Raven. No, she's a terrible actress. I mean, and maybe just how they write her, how they do it. I haven't seen her anything else, so I can't speak to how her acting is. But in this show, she's not very good. And even to go as far to say, besides just her not being as good in this show, I feel like all the scenes with her slowed down the show. That's probably my biggest beef for season one. It focuses so much on her, it slows the series down. And no, I'm good. Like if they felt the reason just to get her out the box and she never showed back up, maybe she's going to go fight Trigon again. I don't know. Keep him at bay. Or I don't know. Figure it out. I'm good with her never being there.
she goes to go to space with Superman, and she's in
space.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Like damn, I can't think of the character in The Simpsons. The dog.
Poochie.
Poochie.
He returns to his home planet.
Yeah. But even Donna Troy, which I enjoyed her time on there, I don't. If the sacrifice is her to get Raven off of this, I'm cool with it. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take the sacrifice.
Firstly, Donna Troy died stupidly.
Yes. And then the last thing is, do you want to talk about how season 3 is answering the fans' calls of how come Beast Boy can only turn into one animal? Technically 2 now. Did you see the scene they slipped in there to try to explain that?
And he's like, oh, just believe in yourself. You can do any animal you want. And he's like, it's not that easy. Get the fuck out of here. It's because they haven't fucking modeled another fucking animal for you to fucking turn into. That's why. And that should have done that fucking in pre-production. It would have taken 2 months to get like a series of 10 animals they could have fucking modeled and had animated for you. because he doesn't really do all that much shit. Like, he's a
Look,
tiger, and then they cut away, and that's it.
look, if the effing Ben 10 live action can have 7 aliens in that effing movie, you're telling me we can't get green animals in a produced, funded, budgeted series? Like, you don't have to do it every episode. They're not fighting anybody every episode. So
Yeah,
every 3 episodes, you can do animals and just go bananas. And no pun intended on that. It is just almost. When I saw the scene, I was like, I see what you try to do there. We do not give a shit. We want a Beast Boy that can turn into more than one freaking animal and make that happen. And also, like I said, why call him Beast Boy? He should be Tiger Boy.
yeah, he should be Tiger Boy because only there is a tiger and a snake once.
Yeah. Oh man, I get it. I get it. It's like you said before, just because you write something to explain something doesn't mean it's good.
No.
Hey, fans that are
It
mad.
makes
This is
sense
why
just because he was like, "Oh yeah, I haven't explained." No, there's an explanation for it. He just doesn't. He just can't. Like no,
right. He has a mental block. He can't figure out how to morph his body into other animals.
And I knew they were going to do this because they did this at the end of the season of season 2 anyway. But they just totally like glossed over the fact that Beast Boy is a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
That there's not many other green tigers in the world and they got him on tape murdering a group of innocent people that he was attacking the theme park at the end of
Carnival.
the season. And like at the end, they're all clapping for like him and Superboy, even though like what the fuck? It was like, and then Dick Grayson goes to jail as Dick Grayson and broke out.
Yeah.
No one's gonna talk about that.
Nope. Or like you said, that they like Superboy murdered cops. But I love in season 3 they try to be like him. He's the hero of the cops. Like they make like, hey, forget about that. What happened back in the day, guys?
Like I literally
got new
like
money.
attacked a whole bunch of cops. And like as Superboy with the same shit I'm wearing right now, and y'all gonna high five me next? No,
it's like we got new money. Forget all that ever happened. We got HBO Max money now.
That's when you know you got white privilege right there. Where you can attack cops, and the very next day they're like, "Hey, that's our boy over there." Because if you're Superboy with black, they would have had kryptonite bullets in every fucking precinct from here to fucking Michigan or some shit.
I'm surprised that the S on the Superman didn't turn blue.
Yeah.
He could have been like, back to blue, guys. Don't get me. My bad. My bad. Any closing notes on Titans season 3, first 3 episodes? I know we had hit up on a lot on the spoiler portion of this.
I mean, like, I'm going to watch this show, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, like, they, give me, are able to renew my faith in the show, I guess is the thing. Hopefully they give me something that I can say, okay, this is why I watched this show, and I'm glad I did it. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but I have hope that it will happen.
All right. I'm like you. At the end, it trended up for me. I like the way they headed with this. I do enjoy where they positioned us. The only fear I have is that they're going to get back into that Raven stuff, and I don't want to hear none of that. But like I said, I like what. And then I guess the other one too is that opening scene, like Nightwing finally felt like Nightwing to a great degree compared to any other point. Like even that, like, hey, big guy, like it felt closer. It wasn't quite there yet, but it felt closer. Where I was like,
he did make a quip. He did make one.
Yeah, like are they evolving him to get closer to? Because even I told when I was watching it, I was watching it with my wife, and I was like, oh man, like they're probably gonna have him just be stone faced beating people up. And I'm like, Nightwing makes quips and jokes, and he talks smack, and then when he's about to get serious. So
I want to say that was awesome, but something that Nightwing totally would not do when he found the drug dealer in Jason's little drug house and he broke his arm. I was like, Nightwing would never do that, but that was fucking awesome. Yes. He's like, all right, cool, crack, and just walks away.
I agree 100%. But I think that is it for us here. I know I was going to call it a quick hit, but it's 40-something minutes into it, so this was not quick at all. But we had a lot of stuff we had to get off our chest, especially it was 3 episodes, guys. This wasn't just a one episode we had to analyze. It was 3 we combined into one big review. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this and continue watching and listening. Remember again to like, subscribe, follow us, comment below. If you all comment, we will read your comments on the show. I do another show, the Gladiator Cypher podcast, a music show. People comment on it all the time, and we read it, and it forces more people to want to comment because they want to hear their comments read out loud, but also us clown you or give respect to your comments. So please comment below. I did get a couple of offers for people wanted to come on and argue with us about our worst superhero list, especially people's biggest the uptick was on the Blade Trinity and Steel matchup. But I'll save that for the N Word for Nerd podcast, and we'll fully talk about that and about that. But other than that, guys, I really appreciate you guys listening, watching, and spending your time here with us because we enjoy doing this. Duke of all nerds, any closing words?
Be kind, be considerate, and tip your servers 20%.
We will see you all next